Hello friends, welcome back to the Tarot Astrologer. I know it's been a while, but I'm here to do a full moon in Taurus reading for everyone. I'm doing this on November 1st. Yesterday was Halloween or Samhain, so I hope everyone soaked up all that good full moon energy. It still continues into today. I know Samhain actually ends this evening, so we're going to go ahead and do a full moon reading for everyone. So this is a full moon spread that I created. I'm going to pull 2 cards for each section, and we have 4 sections in total. So the first 2 cards that I'm going to pull are where you were from the last full moon and where you are now. So basically just how you've evolved throughout the month. On this side, I'm going to do what you were and were not made aware of throughout this full moon cycle. Down here, we're going to do where you'd like to be by the next full moon cycle and how to get there. And then on this side, we're going to do what you did and did not achieve throughout this past full moon cycle. And then at the middle, I'm just going to pull the card from the bottom of the deck. And then I'll also pull some cards from my messages deck. I still don't have a name for this deck, but we're just going to go with it. So the first 2 cards. Where was the collective from the last full moon to now? How has the collective grown from the last full moon to now? Okay, this one wants to come out. From the last full moon to now. Oh, 2? No, just the top one. Okay. Alright. What was the collective made and not made aware of? Made. Ooh, too many. What was the collective not made aware of in this past full moon cycle? What did the collective achieve in this new moon cycle? What did the collective not achieve in this new moon cycle? What did the collective not achieve in this full moon cycle? What did this collective not achieve? Thank you. Where would the collective like to be by the next full moon? I don't even know when the next full moon is. And how can the collective get there? What advice do you have for the collective? Ooh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I saw the Empress and the Emperor and the 2 of Cups. I'm not taking them. What can the collective do to get there? Alright. And bottom of the deck. Perfection. So then we're going to pull the oracle messages as well. I'm just going to do all the shuffling to get it out of the way. Just going to get it out of the way. I was going to say I might put a little timestamp, but I don't think I need to. I think people like watching the shuffle, so. All right. What message do you have from the past full moon cycle to now for our top section of cards? From the past full moon cycle to now. What we were and were not made aware of. What message do you have about what we were and were not made aware of? What we did and did not achieve. A message for what we did and did not achieve. There we go. And where we want to be by the next full moon. Where do we want to be by the next full moon and how to get there? Alright. And a message for the bottom of the deck. The bottom of the deck is just the theme of this full moon period. The overall theme. So I'll probably start with that actually. Well, actually, I don't know. I'll probably end with that. I like to end with the middle. So, let's see. we'll start with the top from where we were by the last full moon and where we are now. So we have the Queen of Swords in reverse and the Moon in reverse. Interesting. So I feel like there's a lot of truths that still haven't been communicated. There's a lot of truths that are bubbling up at the surface and are really ready to come out. I feel like there's also been a lot of, I feel like in this past full moon cycle, there's been a lot of learning how to communicate your inner truths. I feel like the collective in general has maybe been struggling with that a little bit. Communicating these truths in an effective way, in a way that doesn't cause people to question or gaslight themselves. Expressing our thoughts and feelings in a way that is conducive and allows us to bring in our subconscious. And just like, sorry, let me just take a minute to look at these. Okay, in the past full moon cycle, I feel like there's a collective that hasn't really been speaking up for what they need, what they want. And I feel like that's also a lot of confusion because I feel like they can't speak up about what they need and they want because they don't know. I feel like this is a lot of like, there's a struggle in, how do I want to say this? There's like a lot of different messages that are coming through. There's a struggle in like finding your sense of reality and what you want reality to look like. I feel like there may be a lot of fantasies that you're wanting to bring into reality, and I feel like you're maybe questioning the legitimacy of it or the possibility of it actually happening. So I feel like you're afraid to like speak on it because then once you speak on it, maybe it's out there. I feel like it's a little bit of fear about speaking things into the universe because what if they do come and what if they're not as great as I imagined, or what if they're not as what if it's more successful than I imagined and I wasn't ready for that? What if I still have a lot of like subconscious wounds that I'm trying to heal and I don't feel ready for this? So I'm blocking it out, I'm being cold, I'm not communicating. I feel like that's kind of what's going on here, is that during this past moon cycle, I feel like you're revealing a lot about either yourself or you're learning a lot of truths about other people. And you're almost afraid to communicate that because you're unsure what the reaction is going to be. This could also be that you're communicating telepathically, like you could have been having a lot of dreams about the situation, or you really like dream about communicating about this thing and it's just not happening like in the reality. So I feel like that's kind of what this past full moon cycle has like illuminated for you. And we have, don't let this moment pass you by. This is your chance. So I feel like under this full moon cycle, or under this blue full moon that we're having right now, I feel like you can take the chance to open up your throat chakra, especially because the throat chakra is blue in color. So I feel like this is a time about like opening up and communicating your needs, communicating your fears also, because with the moon in reverse, this could be a lot of like fears that you're having, subconscious fears, underlying fears. I feel like there is a lot of like that coming out as well, and there's a lot of fears that you're not communicating, and I feel like that's kind of holding you back from tapping into the full moon energy. Or there's a lot of truths that you're not letting your subconscious reveal to you, maybe because you're afraid of the reaction. But I'm getting that this is the perfect opportunity to fully embrace whatever the subconscious wants to bring up to you, whatever the divine is trying to bring up for you. This is the perfect time to actually tap into that instead of running or shutting it down. So if there is a fear that you've been wanting to communicate about with a certain person or even with yourself, journaling can help. I am getting like writing with the sword that she's holding in her hand. It just kind of looks like a pen. I'm also like imagining that she has like a little book in her hand, in her other hand. But I'm feeling that this could be a really good chance for you to actually communicate and open up about your fears. There could also be an opportunity to do this over either 3 days prior to this new moon that we just had, or maybe 3 days after. I feel like you also can't tap into those energies. So I'm feeling like there's some hidden fears that want to be communicated. And that's kind of where you've been. And these are fears that have either developed or that you've carried with you since the past full moon. So maybe during this next full moon cycle, this is something that you can bring more attention to. Okay, so what you were and were not made aware of. So you were made aware of Five of Pentacles in reverse, and you were not made aware of the Star. Interesting. So I feel like you maybe have been aware of your poor spending habits, especially because this full moon is in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by the second house, which deals with money, possessions, material belongings, what you find value and worth in. I feel like maybe there have been some thoughts about like maybe self-doubt or like low self-esteem. This could also have been like really harsh financial concerns or just financial problems, or just like even if you're not having financial problems, just worrying that like financial problems may occur. And what you weren't made aware of is that the divine is actually intervening on this for you. So I feel like they're actually putting in place opportunities for you to become more financially abundant or just materially abundant, if it doesn't have to do specifically with money. I feel like this is also kind of letting you know that there is an avenue in which you can be creative and you can heal yourself and still provide for yourself financially. So I feel like you were made aware of the fact that like maybe your spending habits aren't great, or you've been hyper aware of like how much money you're making. And I feel like you're just kind of now starting to come out of that and be more comfortable with having belongings. I feel like this could also be speaking to people who maybe have grown up with not a lot, and people who maybe grew up in poverty or in homelessness. And maybe now that you do have things and you have like stable environments, maybe it's almost hard for you to accept that that is stable and safe. I feel like this is also very like, I feel like you maybe fluctuate with your financial stability a lot, and I feel like you're not being made aware that like your finances are actually more stable than you think they are. And that you have more power in making them stable, and that will actually open up the door to other ways of becoming abundant. When you get your finances and your sorry, just a second. Me taking that to more stuff. Yeah, I feel like this is also like you've been made aware that like I feel like this is also like almost caving in to like asking for help, because I'm being drawn to this person who's just like sitting here versus the person who's actually like looking for a way inside of this building. They're just like sitting there. And I feel like you're actually taking more initiative and being like, okay, how have I put myself in this situation? And what choices have I made? What actions have I taken that have hindered me from getting to this place of like healing and growth and a positive outlook on myself. I feel like you're also kind of reflecting and accepting the fact that you do need help in order to heal internally. Sorry. I feel like that may have been something that you struggle with, is either asking for help or recognizing that you need help when you do need it. And I feel like you're also not made aware of that, like, you can heal yourself from within. Like, of course, if you do feel like you need outside assistance in your finances, or even just in your self-esteem, in your body, whatever it is, if you feel like you need assistance with that, it's okay to seek that assistance, but also know that like the assistance they provide for you isn't what's going to fix you. It's your willingness to heal yourself and to do it from within. It has to be intrinsic. That's the word I'm looking for, is that there's an intrinsic motivation for you to improve a situation, and it has to be intrinsic, or else it won't happen. So I feel like you're maybe looking for somebody else to fix this, or you're like hoping that there's resources to help you, and they are, but realize that like all of the help that you get is because one, because you asked for it, it's going to be tailored for you, and it's going to be up to you to do what you will with the information that's provided to you. um, so with the card underneath, I have girl sacral chakra work. I just have these for me, whether you're a girl or a guy or non-binary, doesn't matter. But I feel like there is some sacral chakra work you need to be doing. This could be in relation to pleasures. So there could be things that you're indulging in that you kind of feel like aren't great for you financially. This could be speaking of like overspending, or just kind of spending your money on like frivolous things or on comforts. And maybe these things get a little too expensive, and then you kind of start feeling a little bit financially unstable. I feel like the healing aspect has to do with your sacral chakra, because that's being blocked by guilt. So maybe you're feeling like very guilty for having nice things, or you feel guilty for not asking for help sooner, or whatever it is, that there's like an internal guilt about feeling good and having like some kind of pleasure. So I feel like you need to kind of do some sacral chakra work. I will be coming out with a blog series soon about the chakras. So keep an eye out on my website, because I will be having a chakra series very, very soon, which will talk all about what the chakras do, how they work, what you can do to open them, what you can do when they're feeling blocked, the parts of the body they rule, the parts of your life that they rule, all of those different things. I really have been loving studying the chakras, and I want to share my knowledge. So that will be coming to the Tarot Astrologer website very, very soon. But anyway, yeah, definitely tune into your sacral chakra. Meditate with, meditate on the color orange. Meditate with maybe orange flowers or orange fruits that you like. Yeah, that's kind of all I'm getting for that that little section. Okay, so what you did and did not achieve during this full moon pattern cycle. So we have the Eight of Wands in reverse, and we have the Nine of Wands in reverse. Interesting. So we have the 8-9 combo, both in the reverse. So what you did and did not achieve. So I feel like you achieved slowing down and taking some time out for yourself. I feel like maybe things were in Libra season a little fast paced for you, or maybe you felt like a pressure to keep up with other people, and it did kind of hinder your progress. So I feel like now you're taking the time to actually work through things. And I feel like what you didn't achieve though is, by taking that step back, you didn't really achieve like the stress elimination that you were looking to achieve. I feel like you took a step back from like pressuring yourself to work quickly on something, or to communicate really fast, or like make a really hasty decision. And I feel like now it's like, okay, I'm not going to rush myself. But then at the same time, I feel like you put pressure on yourself to now create something even bigger and better because you didn't rush. So I feel like now you're taking a lot of time to this is definitely something like a creative endeavor, or even a relationship. If it is a relationship, I'm getting that like, okay, I didn't rush into a relationship. I'm with this person, or there's somebody that I'm interested in, and I don't want to rush it. I don't want to commit too fast. But now at the same time, I'm feeling like this has to be the greatest relationship ever because I didn't rush, you know? And I feel like that's not, it's almost like not conducive. It's like you achieve one thing, and then by achieving that, like another thing suffers, like the thing immediately that you know, like I don't know if that makes sense. But I just feel like it's where it's like you wanted to really take your time with something, and then by doing so you put all this like extra pressure to make it like the greatest thing ever, when really it's like you just needed to give yourself more time to do it. It doesn't mean that like just because you took 6 months on it, it had to be like absolutely perfect, or you have to like put all your blood, sweat, and tears into something. It just means that you didn't want to like rush and put something out that like wasn't or you didn't want to like rush through something in order to like just finish it in a certain time period. Like, you actually want it to be good and of quality. But don't put pressure on yourself to make it like the greatest thing ever just because you took time in it. I feel like you're almost punishing yourself for taking time. And this could be where the sacral chakra work is coming in. I almost feel like this card needs to be here. But I feel like with these, yeah, it just feels like there's something that you're feeling guilty about, like taking your time with. And maybe you're feeling guilty that, like, oh, I didn't get this done fast enough, and now it's also not as good. Like, I took forever on it and it's not good, or I took forever on it or I took my time with it and now it's taking me longer than I thought it would. I feel like there is still a sense that, like, you've extended a deadline, like, outwardly, if that makes sense. So think of it this way. So you tell your boss, like, oh, I am working on this project and I plan to have it done by next Friday. Okay, so you plan to have it done by next Friday and you're working on it, and you're like, you know what, I actually can't get it done by next Friday. I don't like rushing myself, so it's like, you know what, I'm gonna have this done within another month. But then another month goes by and you're still working on it really frantically and you're guilting yourself, like, oh, like, am I ever gonna finish this? Like, maybe I should have just turned it in within a week and then I'd be done with it. It's that kind of thing, if that makes any sense. But I'm getting that the achievement basically is that you learn to kind of set a boundary around how quickly you're willing to do things and how fast and abruptly you're willing to, like, make changes. So I feel like that's kind of the most important part. And then the thing that you didn't achieve was maybe, like, completing this task or getting to the point where you felt comfortable in what you had achieved. So I feel like that's kind of like the lesson that is coming through, is that it's okay to set boundaries for yourself, but then don't feel guilty about setting those boundaries and then maybe not meeting up to them, especially if you're kind of new to boundary setting or you're new to kind of speaking up for yourself. It's important not to judge or shame yourself or feel guilty about setting those boundaries because they're important and you set them for a reason. So with this, we got Take a Healing Puff. Okay, this card, like, very rarely comes out. But if you are a cannabis user, I definitely would suggest indulging. It could help you just relax a little bit and take your mind off things and really help you slow down and not put so much, like, pressure on yourself. I feel like if this is a creative thing that you're also working on, cannabis is known to kind of spark creativity. So if that is something that you're also interested in doing, just try it out. If you're not a fan, I'm not telling you what to do. This is kind of just what's coming through the cards. But yeah, I feel like you can use cannabis spiritually, and it can help you in your creative endeavors, because the wands to me speak of, like, creativity and passion and drive. So I feel like with these both in the reverse, I feel like those things may be, like, lacking a little bit. There also may be some guilt around, if you are a cannabis user, there may be some guilt around, like, you using cannabis or other people really not approving of your cannabis use. But fuck all that noise and do what you want to do. Do what's best for you. It's your life and you're allowed to do whatever you want. So that's just me. I'm just going to leave that at that. So, so now we're going to move to the bottom. So this is where you'd like to be by the next full moon cycle and how to get there. Ooh, okay. So by the next full moon cycle, you're really looking to kick a lot of bad habits. So this is also what I'm seeing with a lot of these reversals on the table. I feel like there's a problem with overspending, with shame, especially related to the devil. There's a lot of, like, guilt and shame, not communicating, having a lot of fears. I'm not really surprised to see this card here because this does really speak of old habits, old conditioning, things that maybe provide you pleasure in moderation, but maybe are actually detrimental when you consume or you indulge too much. Like with the Five of Pentacles, this is not really a great place to be in, to be outside freezing cold, no shoes on. This is not really a great place to be in, yet you've kind of almost put yourself in that situation. And then again, with these two cards, with not standing up for yourself and not setting boundaries and feeling a lot of, like, shame around the work that you're doing, that also kind of speaks to that. So I feel like by the next full moon cycle, you're really looking to kick some bad habits and kind of kick that devil energy that makes you feel guilty or shameful when, um, I guess, I feel like this is also you kind of just like doing what's comfortable. I feel like there's some things that you've been going through that like maybe overeating isn't the best for you right now, and maybe like vaping and smoking cigarettes or like drinking every night and like having a lot of sex and having like indulging in kind of like reckless and maybe at times dangerous behavior. I feel like it kind of feels good in the moment, and then as soon as you do it afterwards, you're just like, oh my god, like why did I do that again? And then it kind of repeats the cycle where it's like, okay, well, I just want to do it so that I don't feel this shame anymore. But then by doing it, you create more shame. um, so I feel like this is the energy that you're trying to kick by the next full moon cycle, and maybe you can use this full moon to kind of purge this energy, that makes you feel shameful or that keeps you down, and old habits and patterns that you can just make little changes. At the same time, I feel like the devil kind of intimidates people because you feel like you have to cut things out cold turkey or you have to do things perfectly the first time. I feel like especially if this is like addiction related, um really take your time with this. Don't judge or shame yourself if you relapse a few times, or if you end up going back to your ex, or like whatever it is, whatever this devil situation means for you. I feel like it just means to kind of take your time with making those little changes. It's not something that you have to rush to do immediately. Um, but just kind of show the universe that you do want to make these changes, and set an intention to do that by the next full moon. You might not have purged it completely, but just see where your progress is by then. And your advice is the Eight of Swords. So how to get there is, this is really all like a mental blockage. I feel like maybe you think that you need things that you don't. um I feel like you maybe think that, well, I can't like go here without this, or I can't like do this thing if I don't have this, and it's like it's harder for me to do X if I don't have Y. It's that kind of thing. But I feel like that's all really mental, and it's like in your head, and by that, like, you're kind of keeping yourself stuck in that mentality where, like, well, this is all I have, like all I have is this, and like if I don't have this, then like my existence would be suffering, or my existence would be miserable. And I feel like you kind of think that these habits or whatever are actually like, you might feel like they're doing more good for you, but in turn, like, they end up doing more damage, and they end up causing you to it could also be that this devil energy is maybe like causing like some mental health issues for you. Especially this could be like depression, anxiety. I'm just getting like avoidance also, so maybe somebody's been like um avoiding a lot of people. Maybe they're not communicating a whole lot, especially like we saw with the Queen of Swords. This is somebody who's just not communicating, and maybe doesn't realize that they're trapped, or they realize that they're trapped and they don't realize that they have a way out, and that they have more power in overcoming these negative attachments. They have more power in overcoming those than they think they do. um, and ooh, I just dropped it. Where did it go? Oh, I see it. I saw the card though. It says, I see you're hurting. I want to help. So there is somebody around you that does want to help. I feel like somebody has also taken notice to the fact that you are kind of going through this. Even if you're not speaking about it, I feel like others have noticed maybe like subtle changes in you, relating to the situation. They may see that like maybe you've picked up some unhealthy habits, or you've done things maybe excessively, or that you carry a lot of like shame and guilt around yourself, and maybe you kind of feel like you don't know how to get out by yourself. So this is kind of letting me know that there is somebody around you that wants to help, whether this is professional help, whether this is a family member, a friend, significant other. As much as maybe I'm also getting these too, like, as much as you think that you're hiding this, you're not. Like, you're not doing a very good job of hiding it, and that's not your fault. It's just not meant to be hidden. And I feel like this is also an issue that is almost dangerous to be hidden in a sense, because the devil can be a little bit dangerous, especially if this person doesn't realize how much damage the devil is doing to them internally. So I feel like somebody notices definitely that you're going through a tough time, or that you are struggling with letting something go, and they want to help you with that. They want you to know that you're not by yourself, that you don't have to go at it alone, and that you're not a failure because you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or you can't like make your way out of it on your own. I feel like somebody does want you to know that they are there supporting you, because they see that you're hurting, and they want you to know that they want to help. This isn't somebody with malintention. I feel like this is somebody who actually has a genuine love and care for you and wants to see you do well. So they don't want you to live in this mindset. So they're open to help. So be open to receiving that help. So we've come to the last card. This was at the bottom of the deck, and this is the theme of this full moon period. So let's see what we got. The Page of Swords. So yeah, there's definitely somebody who's got an eye on you. There's somebody who is talking about you. This could be also like multiple eyes on you. I feel like if you are somebody who's kind of been isolated, or is maybe in hermit mode right now and has been taking a lot of time for themselves, you kind of maybe think that there's people who have forgotten about you, or people aren't thinking about you, or aren't talking about you. Know that they are, okay? Whatever you're doing, you've got people have their name in your name in their mouth. Okay, that's kind of what I'm getting from this, is that you do have a lot of attention on you. And whether that's positive or negative intention, I don't 100% know. It could be both for some of you. It could be one or the other for some of you. But I feel like there is a lot of attention on you this month, and especially under this full moon cycle, there's going to be people who are expecting a lot of you, and people who want you to communicate. There could be people who are giving you like small bids for attention and affection and communication. So be open to those if you want to. This could also just be people like spying on your social medias, checking in on you, trying to see what you're up to. I feel like you're going to be popping into a lot of people's heads, or you could be having dreams about certain people. They could be having dreams about you, and you might be getting a lot of messages like, oh, I had a dream about you last night. And you're like, oh my God, again? Like, this is the fourth person that's told me they had a dream about me. But I feel like that's also something that's coming in for you this month. And then lastly, we have Resurrection. So I do like seeing this. This is also with the Page of Swords. I feel like this is learning to communicate like slowly. You know, this is somebody who communicates a little bit at a time. Maybe it's small talk. Because, you know, with the Queen of Swords, like that's kind of like, it's either laying it all out there or nothing. And I feel like this is just a little bit, you know, this is a start in communication. So whether this is you opening up to somebody about what you're experiencing, whether this has to do with your creative project, like we saw with the achievements, or the awareness, if this has to do with like finances, if it has to do with communication and fears, like there's a lot to be said. And I feel like you kind of resurrecting from that energy of like, oh, like I don't want to talk about this, like I'm just going to keep to myself, and if I don't say it, it's not real. I feel like you're going to kind of be rising up from that energy. And because I feel like with the Queen of Swords in reverse, it's almost underneath the page. Because the Queen is like so mature and so outspoken and very eloquent, but then in the reverse, they're silent, they're cold, they don't say anything, or they're really like nasty when they speak. So I feel like this is kind of you slowly starting to open up. It's almost a little bit childlike, where it's like a kid learning to talk about their feelings and their thoughts for the first time. It might be a little bit jumbled. Things might not come out 100% perfectly, but that's okay. Like, it's a start, you know, and that's all you can ask for with situations like this, is just a start somewhere. So yeah, that's what I have for you. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the spread. These are all of the cards. I really hope you enjoyed this little full moon reading, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.